Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the One Life podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast, it inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number one NE Life. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike M.I.C. Reed, and here we talk about positive psychology while taking care of our well-being and telling your story, because everyone has an amazing story. In studio today, I have one of my classmates, Jessica, from our positive psychology course. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been a while since our class.
It has.
I feel like it's been some years, but I know it hasn't been that long.
Yes.
Or has it?
It's been a couple of years.
It's been a couple years?
Yeah, I think
that's crazy.
Like we're going on 2 years, I believe.
Wow. And you know what? It's crazy for me to even think that, because I'm still in touch with a lot of our classmates. That's loud. That's okay. So I feel like it's still like yesterday. Like I was just talking to Olivia. I was just telling you earlier the other day.
Yes. Likewise, I keep in touch with a few of our classmates. I see them in the community. I see what they're doing. I see, and I bump into them sometimes.
Yeah.
I bumped into one of them at Walmart the other day, so that was funny. But yes, I get to see some of them too.
So let me ask you this. What else do you do? So let's start with that, because I know you're in the Palmdale School District.
Yes, I've been with PSD for like a good 15 years now, and I'm a parent community liaison. I worked in an elementary for about 8 years, and then I moved on to middle school. But now I'm at the district because of our new community schools grant. So that was in July of last year, and we kind of just took off running with that grant.
Okay,
and we've
nice.
been bringing a lot of community events.
Nice. So let me ask you this. What we learned in our CAP class, have you taken anything with you into the schools?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. I was using it even while I was still in the class.
All right, okay.
Because of our projects, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started a mentoring program at my middle school that I was working at the time, and that little program was called GEMS, but then it kind of converted into a lunchtime, what would I call it? More like this is a space that I gave the girls to kind of come in and just relax, color if they wanted to. I would always feed them like a little nugget from our binder, and just feeding them, giving them tools of positivity, how to manage their day, their emotions, that type of thing.
That's right. I remember you. That was your impact project.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you. Yeah, I remember you showing us the pictures and the photos and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that's super cool."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you still do that, or no?
Unfortunately, no.
That's right, because you're at the district.
Yes, I'm at the district now, so I no longer work at the middle school. That's the one thing I really miss.
They didn't adopt it?
No, there was just a lot going on, and the busyness of the day.
Right,
it didn't continue, but I miss it.
Yeah, and we need more programs like that.
Yes, it was good.
Because I'm in elementary now, and I do a lot of that in the schools, and I try to, because the schools are so busy, as you know, we can get caught up with a lot of different situations with behavior issues, but I really try to do similar impact projects when I can. Like I've done basketball competitions where I did team building, and safety, psychological safety, because, elementary schools, they really don't have like basketball, soccer. They don't have teams. So I created a basketball team for the sixth graders. Okay. And I really turned that around, and I've seen them on the basketball court when I first got there, just like on recess, just like yelling at each other, cussing at each other, just out of control, right? Yes. And once I implemented the new tournament basketball, now I can sit back and just watch them play. They can even put their teams together themselves now, like me and the other coach. I mean, we instill so much skills into them and positive psychology into them to where now we just kind of sit back on the sidelines and watch them put it all together now.
That's
and
awesome.
they play. There's still a little chaos, but it's just way better than when we first got there.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so I'm really happy about that. So even like a month ago, I think my other part of my team, the women's that's part of my team, we did what was called art in the forest, because we have this section on the playground that's like has a bunch of trees. We call it the forest, and we did some vision boards with the 6th grade girls, and then they hung them on the trees. Then we had jazz playing outside. So it's kind of like art in the forest. So they was, all the classes, all the teachers, they came out during lunch recess and they were just walking around looking at everybody's vision board. It was so cool. It was like,
that's beautiful.
so I try to do a little impact projects like that when I can, because it does take time to do, but
it does.
because of all the other stuff that goes on in school. But we try to do at least one big project a month.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Anytime you can pour into the youth, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So I definitely try to do that. I would like to see it once a week, but as you know, a day to day is just crazy. Like,
It's a lot.
you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Totally.
You can plan it, but it might not happen.
Exactly. Especially on school grounds.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in one day.
Yeah, and like I was telling you earlier, I definitely, hope that they can get more projects like this into the schools and more programs.
Yes.
But I do see it though. I'll be honest, I can see the shift, because from when I was in elementary, like they didn't have any of the stuff available to us.
Right.
I think that both districts now are starting to see, that people need the well-being. People need to start taking care of their well-being.
Definitely.
Right, and need that positive reinforcement. That's why I love when Palmdale came out with the well-being course for us, because the community needed that.
Absolutely.
Right, it wasn't just about, okay, we need our roads fixed and blah blah blah. Like, we need to start taking care of ourselves as well.
Totally on board with that.
Yeah, so I think I'm starting to see that in the school districts too. They're starting to allow a lot of different programs that I know back in the day they wouldn't have allowed it. But I think they see the impact that it's having.
Yes, well-being is essential. It's like, I think it's a basic, it's just something that we all need on a daily basis. We need to have positive relationships, positive environments, positive, just everything around us needs to be in a good space for us to be able to flourish to the best of our ability.
Right.
Otherwise, if we have a lot of darkness or chaos and things that are happening around us, it's going to be very difficult to function properly.
Right.
So, yes.
What I mean, you've been in, what's it, 15 years, 16?
Yes, with Palmdale School District, about 15 years.
What's the biggest difference you've seen, like from day one when you got into the school to now? I know there has to been like some type of big impact.
Well, yeah, I think Palmdale School District it's come a long way. Like, there's a lot of new things. Our superintendent, he's an awesome person. He always tries to bring new programs and just opportunities, experiences for our students, and even for staff, so we always have something going on. So there's an abundance of programs. There's always a good opportunity for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think if I could say one thing that has really improved in our district, just the awareness, the awareness where there is a need or there is a lack, and just trying to fill those spaces with something good, something that's going to benefit everyone. Right. So, yeah, there's always room for improvement, but we've come a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, with the students, like, I know there's, as much as I know that they need it, one of the things that I kind of teach them, and I hear this a lot from my other teammates and the staff at the school, is we talk about choices. Like, it's always your choice.
Right.
You know, you have a good day or you have a bad day. You know, it's your choice. 'Cause I think they need to learn that. They need to understand that.
Definitely.
Because people have to want to be better and do
Yes.
better, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you can't force it on them.
Yep.
Because trying to force, especially a kid nowadays, to do something, that's just a losing battle.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah, they gotta want to. So the approach has to be different, and that's the difference that I'm seeing now in the schools. The approach is different. It's not just discipline and expelling kids. You know, I don't know. I haven't worked with Palmdale School District, but I know Lancaster School District. They believe in keeping the kids in the schools, right, and teaching them, which I agree somewhat. There are a couple of things where I'll be like, why is this kid here? Not here in school, but like he should have got suspended. Like
Right.
like just the blatant disrespect. Like a lot of these kids out here, and I get it. Like they just haven't learned. No one's taught them how to
Or
be
healed.
or healed. Yeah, because it is a lot of trauma. It's a lot of trauma, and I was gonna get to that. I know I started off with
Sorry, I
making it
got
sound,
ahead of the game.
No, I started off with it making it sound like bad, like these kids are bad. And let me start this over because all the kids that I work with, they're all good kids.
Yeah.
They really are. It's just I know they're going through something,
Yes.
and like I said, a lot of them just haven't been healed yet, or don't even know what healing looks like.
Exactly.
So, and that's I think that's where we come in. Because one thing that we teach, and like in my trainings now, is that you don't take behavior personal. A lot of these kids, and I think one of my executives said it best. There's two types of kids that go to school. One kid goes there to learn. The other kid goes there to find love.
Yes.
Because they don't, unfortunately, get that at home.
Right.
And most of the kids that act out, you know where that's coming from.
Yes.
It's coming from some type of trauma.
Right.
And that's why you don't take it personal. So they just haven't learned yet, learned even what it is. Also, they're told not to talk about it. So they're holding all this stuff in.
Yeah.
So, like, how do we get them to talk?
Yeah.
You know? That's one of the biggest, I think, obstacles that we have is getting the kids to use their voices because we're constantly telling them, like, hey, I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. Like, you have to use your words. You have to talk. But I get it. Like, when I was a kid, I was always taught not to speak, right, until spoken to.
Wow.
But was never spoken to. So that's why a lot of adults don't speak up to today.
Exactly.
Because back in the day, that's what they was taught.
True.
So now for me, it's trying to break that wall. So we start off with trust, right? Like especially with me going to school, you know, we go in, and I know my first, I want to say month, I didn't try to do nothing that my training was teaching me to do. I was only trying to do one thing, and that was build trust with the students.
Right. Yeah, got to build rapport. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything to really grow from. You know?
Right.
So they need to learn to trust you, and once that trust is there, then they will share.
Yeah, and I see it now. I was just talking to one of my teammates the other day about it, that the kids literally come up to us now. Before there's a problem, they'll run up to us and be like, hey, Coach Mike, you know, so-and-so did this, and I'm not trying to fight the person, but, you know, so I want to come to you and talk to you first. I'll be like, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah, you're their safe space.
Yeah,
So
we got to create that psychological safety space, right? And I think I've done a good job of creating that.
That's awesome.
You know, it's easier for me to even pull kids out of class when something happens. Like when I first got there, if a student did something, you know, I would say, hey, let's go outside, talk about it. Let's not disrupt the class. You know, let's go outside. Because one, you want to take that one kid that's throwing books, throwing chairs, you want to get him away from the other students first.
Right.
So you're trying to regulate that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first got there, it was so hard to do that because they didn't know who I was. So when I was like, hey, come on, let's go outside and talk, they'd be like, no, I don't talk to you. Who are you? Like, they just look at me like, who are you? And they'd be cussing at me too. Like,
Yep.
and it's like, it would take so long. I would have to call the supervision aides and all them to like help me get the student out of class. Now, like the other day, I had a situation where I just walked into class and I was like, hey, let's go out and talk about it. Like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
Because they know they're safe with me.
Exactly.
They know that I give them that space to where even when we go outside, if they don't want to talk, cool, we don't have to talk right now.
Right.
Let's go shoot some hoops real quick. Let's throw the football around.
Yep.
We'll talk when you're ready.
That's awesome.
And as we're throwing the football or playing basketball,
Mm-hmm.
the conversation starts.
Yep. That's how it works.
Yeah, so a lot of them are doing that now. So I feel great about that. But it does take a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, and that's just a baby step.
Yep.
Like we still have a long way to go
Yes.
to like even bring down a lot of the walls that they're holding up.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
You need to remember too, like with the students, a lot of it is also rooted from the parents.
Yeah.
You know, so I've had the chance to work with a lot of parents, throughout all these years, and sometimes it's not even so much the student, it's the parent that needs the
Yes.
guidance and the direction and words of encouragement, because kids are literally a reflection of their parents.
Yes.
So it's a lot of work, but we do it one day at a time.
Yeah. So even I was telling you earlier, I work with a community liaison lady because we're trying to come up with a plan for next year. Like we already started.
Nice.
Because with my team and the behavior team and the psych team, we do all this work in one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you send a child home, there's no reinforcement. So the next day he comes back to school, it's starting all over again
Yep.
because of their environment, whether it's the parent, the environment, whatever the case may be. Like we don't know a lot of it, but we just know that it's just not a healthy situation. Like the kid comes back, dysregulated again, and we're starting from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Like he forgets everything we did yesterday.
Yep.
So it's starting all over again. It's just a cycle. And so one of the things that me and the whole team over there and the community liaison lady is, we're trying to figure out a way, okay, how do we break this cycle?
Mm-hmm.
How do we get the parents involved, giving the parents simple tools that we can give them, not saying that they got to take our courses that we take in, but there are simple tools we can give them that they can, have that reinforcement while they're home. So
Right.
it's not too much of a cycle. Like it's more of a stepping ladder to where we're growing now. We're not going in circles. Like we're actually moving forward and learning and getting the student to be a better student.
Yes, I think as far as the parents go, each school is a little different.
Yeah.
So each school provides workshops, classes for the parents. There's always an opportunity, even if they're not able to go in person, they can be on there through Zoom. But the parents definitely have to want to learn and to be better for their kids. So it's something, and life it's rushed. Like we're all working, we're all trying to make ends meet.
Right.
We're all trying to do many things at one time. But even if it's just a few minutes that the parents take to kind of learn for their child, it's going to build and it's going to make better relationships for their family.
Right. I mean, even if they're not doing it for their child, do it for themselves.
Absolutely.
Because our kids are always going to learn from us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kids are smart.
Super smart.
They sit there and they're like a sponge. Every little thing we do in that home.
Oh, yeah.
I know because I got two older ones. So at first, when my kids were little, I didn't think about it, right? Until someone brought it to my attention. Like my son, he would just repeat everything I was saying. And I used to have like, where'd you get that from? And then my ex-wife would like, he got it from you. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think about it at first. And it was like, I guess he did. So we don't think about it, but our kids are like sponges. They're not even like sponges. They're sponges.
They are.
They're
They see
super
everything.
smart.
Yes, they see everything and they mimic.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And if they see us doing something, they think it's okay for them to do it.
Exactly.
Like I got this one kid, he just like when I first met him, he gave me a problem. Like he didn't like me at all. Now we're like almost best friends. You know, like I built that relationship with him.
That's awesome.
So I even tease him a lot. I'd be like, so the other day I was like, you cuss the most out of everybody in the school. And he's in second grade.
Wow.
He still got third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade classes. Wow. I said, you cuss most in all of them. He was like, no, I don't. I was like, yes, you do. Like, you know, but when I first met him, I remember him telling me, he was like, because I remember I was like, do you do that at home? Or like, how does your dad feel about that? He's like, my dad knows. He don't care.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, that is a problem. And then once I met his dad, unfortunately, I was like, okay, I see.
Exactly.
And I was just like, yeah. I mean, the parents have to want it, and I get like I don't know much about him, but I could tell like it's rough.
Yeah.
And it is. I get it. Like it was rough for me. You know, I know a lot of parents. It's rough sometimes, a lot of times. But again, like we keep saying, like you have to want to do better.
Yes.
You know,
It's hard to break cycles.
it is.
You know, so when you see a pattern, there's a cycle there that just continues to go, and sometimes it gets bigger and uglier, and you just have to make that decision to cut it.
Right.
Completely cut it, want nothing to do with it. You want to change everything about that dysfunction, or just everything about that negative behavior. You know, like people have to wake up.
Yeah.
They got to wake up to the reality that you don't want your kids being a certain way. You got to teach them right.
I know, and it's just crazy because you always hear, you know, all parents say, "Yeah, I want better for my kids. I want my kids to do this and that and that." And it's like, okay, but what are you doing to help them get there? Because you can't continue to be yourself and expect, you know. And I want to be clear. I've seen some parents struggle and their kids, they gone off to do great, which is great.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. And like even like with the kids, that I feel like it's gonna be a while before for something to click. But like I remember when I was doing the training, this person I was training was like, well, what do you do like if the kid doesn't respond or whatever? And I said, you know what? You're gonna have some kids that they're not gonna respond. They are who they are, but we still don't give up. We continue to show up every day. We continue to be that positive influence every day, because that's one thing that these kids are lacking is the consistency of someone being positive to them.
Right.
So we show up every day. We continue to be positive. We continue to say, hey, good morning, how you doing? Give them a fist bump, high five, whatever it is. Just continue to do that every single day. Every day you show up, just do that. I said, at some point, something's going to click.
Right.
It might not be this school semester. Maybe it's next semester. Maybe it takes a while, and that's okay because we all have different capacities of learning. I said, but as long as we continue to just show up every day and do our part, then the other half is up to the student. They got to do their part. Something has to click. They got to want it.
The consistency.
And I do believe at some point, most humans, something does click, and it turns around.
Totally.
It's just a matter of when, or, you know, unfortunately, it takes, you know, the adults, even adults, like they can change. But sometimes, you know, from what I've seen in my experience, it just unfortunately takes like a tragic situation to happen for it to click.
True.
And that's what we try to teach these students, like, hey, I don't want to see you go down this bad path for something bad to happen for you to say, oh, you know, it's like, I've been there. I've done it. I'm trying to get you to avoid going down this path I've been down.
Yeah, you're trying to prevent them from learning the hard way.
Exactly.
And
I think all us, I think all us parents and adults, we do. I think that we want that for the kids because we all been there.
Exactly.
But the kids don't understand that.
I know.
They think we don't know what we're talking about. Like they invented all the excuses. Like we was using the same excuses when you was little. Like, come on.
We've been there.
Been there. We, you know, and I'm in elementary school. I tell all the sixth graders, you know, because I'm always constantly preaching to them. I say, you know what? I've been to middle school. You haven't. I know what to expect. You don't know what it's like. I say, if you think this is hard,
Just wait.
just wait till you get to middle school. Wait till you get to high school. It's even rougher. Like, it's harder. Like, I'm trying to help you here. Like, I'm trying to prepare you for that.
Yeah, times have changed a lot.
Yeah.
Social media, it's a big one.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Going back to CAP. We talked about what you used in the schools and with the students. What have you used in your personal life?
With CAP?
Yeah. Or have you?
Just everything. Yeah, everything. The outlook, the perspective, the tiny habit, just all the tools that we learned in CAP. For me, it was such a... I felt like I would have needed CAP like 10 years ago from when I took it.
Oh, 100%.
But
100%.
But still, it was still relevant. It was still timely. I'm still using it to this day.
Is there one particular tool you use on a regular basis?
Well, the toolkit had a lot of, I think like some of them I was already using, but I still continue to use them. I have a lot of awe moments, like the aha moments or the awe moments. Very much person connected to nature. So it could be like the smallest thing, like a hummingbird. And, when I opened my front door the other day, I was like, oh, the hummingbird came to visit me. So like, those little moments that I cherish them because to me it's the divine, it's God just telling me like, I'm still here.
Right.
And I love that part, just being able to use everything that we learned in that class.
I think for me, I'm constantly using the tool that where at the end of the day, I'm always asking myself, okay, what went well? Especially on my bad days.
Yeah.
I just say, okay, you know what? Today wasn't a good day. Because in reality, all days are not going to be good days.
Exactly.
We're always going to have obstacles. There's going to be bad days. So on those bad days, I always consistently to this day now, I always say, okay, you know what went well today?
Yes.
And I just pick all the things, even if it's the smallest thing. Like, well, I was able to wear clean clothes today. I was able to eat today. All these small things that we take for granted, right? Because we think we're just supposed to have them every day, right?
Yes.
It's like, no, God provided me a roof over my head today.
I'm huge on gratitude.
Yeah.
I can't go a day without being thankful.
Right.
Excuse me. But yes, that's my lifeline, just being grateful for everything, the smallest to the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was talking to someone on my show one day about how no matter what we have, like everything can be taken away in an instant, like in a blink of an eye, and people don't realize that until it happens to them. Like even like with me, off air, I was kind of telling you about the situation that I had where I lost 8 things in 1 week. Like it was really like that: the house, the car, the job, the income. My dog. Like you wouldn't think like all this can happen to you like just at the blink of an eye. Like it's just all gone.
That's life.
It's like what do you do with that? Like, like when I tell you, especially like at my age, right? Because this happened last year. I was just like, there's no way I'm starting from the bottom. Like, because we know how hard I know how hard it took me to get all this stuff.
Right.
Like, you want me to start all over? Like,
yeah.
But it also shows you how amazing God is.
Absolutely.
Because when I tell you I learned so much from that. I'll be honest with you. I learned so much from that. I learned that, one, you got to give him everything that you can't control. You just got to give it to him and trust him.
Yep.
Because he's doing it for a reason. And he actually put me in way better positions that I didn't even think about.
Exactly. That's what he does.
Yeah, I know. And it's so, like I was saying, you can lose everything in a minute, but you can also get everything. You can turn your life back around in a minute.
Yep.
It may take baby steps, and the next morning you wake up, you're not gonna have everything again. But just in theory, like it's up to you on how you turn your life around.
Yep.
You can start thinking positive and, like I said, giving it to God in a second.
Yep.
And then every day watch your life just change.
I agree. It's like the kids, you know, they make the choices.
Yeah.
Adults, we make choices too. So we have to make that choice every single day of our life to just live to the fullest, be grateful, have that connection with God. For me, he's my lifeline. Like,
Yes.
there's no other way to live but that way. So just being huge on, you know, prayer, meditating, reflecting like you do at the end of the day, that's, to me, that's a noble and a beautiful way to live because, you know, that's how we strengthen ourselves, even in the midst of trials.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be messy. Life is messy. But we got to keep going.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that I always constantly preach about is if you know, like, these things are going to happen, right? Like, I was just talking to a friend of mine about relationships, and this is kind of a good way to segue into relationships because I know that's what we said we was going to talk about. We all know there's no perfect relationship,
Right.
right? There's no perfect life. There's no
Nope.
perfect relationship. Nothing's perfect.
Nope.
You're going to have your trials. You're going to have your obstacles. But if you know that the relationship you get in, you're going to have problems, but you also know that if you have a conversation about it, right, and through conversation, everything can be worked out.
Right.
Especially if you're both on the same page and understand this, then you can get through it,
Definitely.
right? So going into a relationship, I know you have flaws. I know I have flaws. At some point, our flaws are going to cross paths,
Right.
and we're going to have a bad day.
Right.
So what do? We give each other that space. We talk about it, and we move forward.
That's it. That's the key. Communication.
Most people don't understand that. Why is that? Help
It's
me
such a
understand that.
simple concept, but it works.
Okay, so people, my saying is always, life is simple, not life is simple, not easy,
True.
right?
Yeah.
But I get those weird look all the time. They be like, "No, life is not simple." No, life is simple because
It
life
could
isn't
be.
doing anything to you.
It could be. Yeah.
Life really is simple. Life is not doing nothing to us. We do it to ourselves. We let external circumstances all the time get in our way,
Right.
and
right.
we make it, as humans, make it difficult.
Exactly.
Life is not doing nothing. The sun comes up from the east every day and sets in the west. It's doing its thing every day. It's not doing nothing different than it has been doing in a million years.
It's our choices. It's
It's
our
our choices,
decisions.
right.
It's the way we do life and the way that we choose to go forward with certain things. But like you said earlier, being on the same page, that's key
Right.
in relationships, because if you're not on the same page, and yes, compromise, you know, that's always a good thing to do, but a lot of times you have to see eye to eye, you know, you have to be in agreement.
Right.
If you're not in agreement, you're divided.
Right.
And divided contracts or divided agreements, they don't work. You know, it's very hard to have that middle ground. So it's very important to make sure you're with someone that has your same, maybe not identical ideas, but just something that you're like, hey, yeah, you're like-minded. Being like-minded is so important.
I think that's what it is, because we can have different. So that's religion, right? Mm-hmm. I had this conversation 6 months ago about can a Christian person be with a person who is a Jehovah's Witness, and because I have a good friend who's a Jehovah's Witness, and she's amazing, and me and her talk, and just hearing her perspective is intriguing to me, right? I actually have two friends that are Jehovah's Witnesses, and they both said the same thing. Yes, two people can be together, right? They just gotta be able to respect each other's beliefs, right? Being, like you said, being on the same page, having respect for each other,
Right.
beliefs, and if you can do that, and have that communication, then yeah, because they both told me in their congregations that they have, like a lot of the female members of the Jehovah's Witness, their husbands are non-Jehovah's Witness,
Right.
but they've been married for many years, and it works.
Okay.
But it is hard, though. They both said it's hard because of the beliefs and the like the celebrations. I think the celebrations of it is hard. Like they don't do birthdays or Christmas.
Right.
So they said that's the kind of hard part, because she was like, Mike, you believe in Christmas. You celebrate Christmas. She was like, wouldn't you want me there at your family's house during Christmas? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. She was like, right, but I wouldn't go.
Right.
So that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Can you accept that? Can you deal with that? So it goes back to what you just said. Even with our flaws, right? When we choose our partner, everybody comes with flaws. It's, can you handle that flaw?
Exactly.
Are you okay with that flaw? Can you live with that flaw? If it's
Right.
too big for you, then don't force it. Then
Right.
no, because then you're gonna have animosity. You're gonna have anger later on.
Yeah.
You got to be okay. So that's where the sacrifices come in, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, like I tell people nowadays, because I'm back in the whole dating thing. Yeah, I have boundaries. I'm very picky. I don't want to settle. But at the same time, I know once I find that person, yeah, I'm not going to settle, but I am going to look at her flaws and whatever and be like, okay, I can live with that. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Like, it was just one girl that I wanted to marry for the rest of my life. And she is still the most beautiful person to me. But she has these flaws, and I'm okay with her flaws. And I've always told her that, but she can't accept it. Like, she thinks she's so damaged that that she can't give anyone love. But I've always told her, to me, and maybe it's just me, because I just see her differently, because I know her and I know her heart. I'm okay with her flaws. And I told her that. I was like, I'm okay with your flaws. I know that's you. It's kind of like you got to accept people who they are, not who you want them to be.
Absolutely.
If you can accept someone for their flaws and all, then yeah, it can work. And it has to be both ways. Right? So.
Totally. I think, like you said earlier, like if it's something that you are okay with and it's a flaw, because there's a lot of men that stay in relationships and their partners are either, alcoholics, or they're probably, they have different addictions. But it's tolerable for them, then hey, power to them.
Right.
It's probably going to cause a lot of problems down the line. But at the end of the day, if you love that person and you're willing to help them and stay by their side, hey, my respects for, those people.
Yeah.
But it's what you can tolerate as far as a human
Right.
being, and we all have a right to be happy, content. We all have a right to live a life with dignity. We have a right to be in a relationship where you're going to honor each other, where you're going to respect each other, communicate, have that just a good, solid relationship. Everybody deserves that. I believe it.
100%. I definitely believe that. And that's why I always say everybody deserves to be loved. Like what the one girl I was just talking about. She believes she don't deserve it. And I'm like, no, you do. Like, you're a beautiful person. You deserve to be treated right. Because she was in a 15-year horrible, like, domestic violence relationship.
Yeah, I was trying to, I was going to say there's a lot of,
Yeah.
the healing hasn't happened there.
It hasn't happened. And part of that is on her, because she doesn't do the work that she should do. Like, she needs therapy, but she don't believe in therapists because of the whole, she went to therapy one time and it didn't work out. So now she don't like therapists, and it's like, you got to find the right one. Like, you can't just give up, because, you know what I mean? So part of it as an adult, that's your responsibility. Like,
Exactly.
you gotta figure it out. But she does deserve love. She deserves it all, because she's a beautiful person. Like, she helps people. She does a lot for a lot of people. She just don't feel like, she can do that. But what, as far as like, so there's two type of things, right? There are the people with like you said, that had the abuse, right? So there's a difference between a toxic relationship and a healthy one. So yes, I believe that, let's say if you high school sweethearts, right? Mm-hmm. And you grew up together, fall in love, got married, then something happened to her. Let's just say the male, got hooked on drugs for whatever reason. Now he's an addict, but now the relationship is toxic.
Right.
Being abusive, he's doing all these things. That's unhealthy. That's just a toxic relationship that someone should just get out of. But if he's addicted and he's not abusive to you and he listens to you because you're there as his support and you're helping him, but you can tolerate that, then I don't see nothing wrong with that. That's kind of dope to me, that you're still with that person and you're trying to help them through it. As long as that person isn't being, violent towards you or it's not turning too toxic.
Exactly.
I believe in that because everybody deserves help.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's someone who sticks by your side through all of those things, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people are willing to do that.
No.
But if you have someone that's willing to stick by your side, which with whatever flaw you may have, it just says a lot about that person that they're willing to not only help you, but sometimes they're kind of like an angel, like that person that it's always going to take you and guide you, direct you, give you the encouragement that you may need. So yeah, it's a great thing, but I fully believe in healthy relationships. Yeah, it's better. It's wiser. Even the word says, "Do not be unequally yoked." Yeah. So whoever has an amazing relationship like that, I'm all for that. Yeah. Yeah.
But like we were saying earlier, it really is communication.
Definitely.
Like, first and foremost, you got to have the communication. But again, it really is the simplest thing, right? Communication, any communication with anybody can change anything, right? But most people don't know how to communicate.
True.
Like the friend I was talking about, she says it all the time. She don't know how to communicate. And that's one of the problems that I had with her. Even though I accepted that flaw of hers, she really don't know how to communicate. She don't know how to, I'll tell you about it. She don't know how to express her feelings, which is communication. But because in her job, she's really good at communications because she's a boss. Okay. So I'm like, and I used to argue with her about that. I'm like, how you don't know how to talk to me and communicate about your feelings, but you run this whole team. You communicate, and you hate when they don't communicate with you. So you know what communication is.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's just like, I don't know.
It's just in a different role.
Yeah, it is a different role. And I guess I understand it to a certain extent, right? But yeah, it's just like she knows communication. She communicates with her team all the time. But with me, it's like she freezes up when it comes to like, hey, how you feeling? Like, how do you feel about us right now? Like, she'll just straight up freeze up. She don't know how to answer that. It's like, wow. She don't know how to express her feelings.
That's interesting.
But I think that's just I had to learn that that's a trauma mechanism because of what she went through with her ex.
Right.
It was that always constantly putting her down, telling her how ugly she is, telling her all this negative stuff to where she couldn't talk back. She couldn't use her voice in that scenario. So now if you ask her anything about feelings, it's a trigger. Yeah. And she just shuts down.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like even women, like something as simple as a compliment, like they don't know how to receive a compliment. Yeah. They don't know how to just say, oh, thank you. Like they either, shy away from it or, oh no, it's, they kind of counter whatever was said to them. They don't receive it. Because they probably never received encouragement as a child.
So I'm the same. Everybody knows this about me. I don't take compliments or anything too well. Like I shy away from it because I've never gotten it as a kid. It's because of the life that I grew up in. Even when, you remember when we did this thing in class. This I forgot what we call it.
Oh, was it the one with the Post-its?
On your back?
Yes.
Okay. what was it called? An experiment or no, not
It was an
experiment.
activity.
Activity. Yeah, it was an
an
activity. So yeah, we all had to write something good about each other and post it on each other's back, right?
Yeah.
So and not Tanga, what's her name?
Antoinette?
Not Antoinette, the other one. She used to be on my show. Oh my God, I forgot her name.
Jackie.
No,
No?
no, she was a co-host of mine.
Oh, Diana.
Not Diana.
No? Oh, okay. I don't know.
Just a second. My name's anyway. That's not about that. Not about the activity. It's about the activity, but not her. Anyway, she used to get on me all the time about because I still to this day have not sat down and read them all.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
And she used to get on me all the time, like, Mike, did you read it? Did you read it? She's like, I'm gonna come over and read them for you.
Wow.
I said, no, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, because you know why? Because I think I was one of the ones that had 2 papers full, so I had a big thing.
I remember you had the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
I remember
I'm shining up right now because of that. Like why did I get the most?
Wow.
You know, like I don't know. I was just never as a kid was said anything positive. Everything was just so negative for me. So now when people do it, it's like I don't know how to react to it.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't.
Do you have them somewhere here?
No, not here. No, no, I do not. I'm not gonna pull them out.
I was
no,
going to say,
I
I can
don't.
start reading them to you right now.
No, I glanced at a couple of them. So I did glance at a couple of them. I do have them in my house. I know where they are.
Okay.
I am going to say I'm not going to throw them away.
Okay.
One day I will. One day I will sit down and take it in.
You
Like
should.
I get emotional when I think about them and I say, okay, I'll do it. I start getting emotional because it's a little sad for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm extremely grateful
Yeah.
that so many people have so many nice things to say.
Yes.
But it's like, yeah, I don't know how to take it.
Wow.
It's making me tear up right now because, yeah, I
Well,
don't take it.
I'm here for you right now. So,
No,
hey.
I know, but I mean, so I get how some women are like that. They don't have to take compliments.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I didn't know it was also a thing for men because I've always seen it in that perspective, in that lens for women. But you know what? It's very eye-opening that even for a man, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
And, something so simple. It's a compliment.
But you know what? So like kind of the story I was telling you earlier about how when I was just at the across the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really try my best and try not to genderize anything or make anything about race. 'Cause
Right.
I honestly, the more we learn, I think this comes with age. The more older I got, the more I start studying things and just looking. Like I study behavior now. I just started looking at things differently. And so with that, right, you would think that, yeah, that's a female thing because most men don't speak up.
Right.
Most men are not taught to be vulnerable, so they don't speak
Right.
up. So we don't know. But no, I'm a man. I go through it. So it's not a gender thing.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of men that can agree with you. Like
Yeah.
they are not prone to receiving compliments or just and it's definitely not a love language because
Right.
for some people words of affirmation, that's their love language. So they're used to receiving, words of affirmation all the time.
So for me, words of affirmation is my second love language. I know how to deliver it,
Right.
but receiving it is no. Like I do all these things,
Okay.
but yeah.
Well, I hope you're able to receive it because I'll
Lisa gets on me a lot about it
I'll,
now, like because Lisa knows it's about me. So
Yeah.
whenever we do community events, she's always like, whenever she's like presenting or something, she'll look at the audience and she'll give me a compliment, and it's like, don't talk about me. I tell her all the time, like, stop thanking me. Like I do things because I want to do them.
Right.
Like there's no need for thank you. Like I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate people that appreciate what I do. But again, it's the compliment. It's like you don't have to. Like I don't do it because you wanted me to do it. I do it because I wanted to do it. So
You know, some people are like that. They don't like to receive the recognition because they like to be anonymous, like in the background. And that's fine.
Well, I think also, yeah, because my whole career, I was always, in the background. Like, I've never been in front of the camera, in front of the mic. I was all behind the scenes.
Look at you now.
I know. I'm growing, though. That's part of growth, though, right?
Yep.
So
That's right.
So, yes, I don't know. Communication, though, is definitely a key in relationships. I mean, what
100%.
else? What else? Okay, from a woman's perspective, other than communication, what would you say?
I would, I mean, did you want me to kind of speak to the men or speak to the ladies?
Whatever.
Because I can give a different perspective.
Well, I want to hear both then, yeah.
Okay, so when it comes down to like men, my advice or like my words for men would be like, be very confident in who you are. And if you are a man of God, that makes a huge difference in relationships, because a man who loves God, he's going to know how to love his woman.
True.
He's just going to be a different man. You know, he's going to be gentle, respectful. Like, those are things that are naturally going to occur because he's connected with his creator. And as far as women, like, I have no issues with the word submission. You know, women shy away from that word. They're like, oh, I will never be a submissive wife, or, you know, they see it like such a negative thing. But it's actually a very beautiful thing, and it should be a mutual submission. Because the man who is submitted to Christ, naturally his wife will be submitted to him. And I think if they're both in a place of walking with God, doing things right, trying to do the right thing, being good human beings, everything is just going to flow. You know, like, they're going to have a solid relationship because they're both rooted from where the true love comes from, you know, because God is love. So to me, I feel like that's one of the most important things in a relationship.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with that.
But yes, communication, respect, honesty, like-minded, those are all things that will...
Loyalty.
Absolutely. Loyalty is a huge one.
Loyalty.
And just having fun. Like, why can't we just have fun? You know, be fun people and do fun things together, and don't stop dating each other, and don't stop having, you know, these moments of joy. Like, just try to be a happy person. Be positive. Stay positive. Like, feed yourself and nourish yourself with all kinds of education, because that's just going to help you be a better human being.
Right.
So I do that a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts, do a lot of reading, a lot of reflection time, because those are the things that have continued to build me and make me as a person.
So what would you say to man or woman, correct? I don't like to generalize, because I know, and even though
just
certain
relationships.
Yeah, even though I know certain situations, I know the woman has it, you know, the worst, but you know, we also say in certain situations men have it the worst, right? I know what we're talking
We all
about.
have our battles.
Yeah.
All of us.
So for people that are going into a new relationship, but they now have these walls up because of something happened in their past relationship. Like for my last relationship, right, I was like, and this is just me being out of anger, I was like, you know what, I'm never doing this for a woman again. You know, because I'm very attentive. I'm always doing something for my girl. Like, my friends tease me all the time. They was like, Mike, I already know when you have a girlfriend, because you disappear on everybody. It's like, yeah, when I get a new girl and a new relationship, I'm gonna be attentive to her. I'm gonna give her my all. I'm giving her my attention. Yeah. So I do disappear.
Okay.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though.
Yeah.
But so I do a lot for my girl, for my partner. And this last one, again, it was no different. But this last time, I was like, you know what? Never doing it again. Never doing it again. But then I had this conversation with somebody. I was like, but is that fair to the next person?
Right.
So I had to think about it, even though I know I said it out of anger. But I know that if I get another partner, it won't be fair for me to say that, because what if she's the one that actually deserves it?
Exactly.
But now I'm putting up these walls because now I have trust issues.
Right.
But
Right.
that's very common in relationships, because I know when I like date, and women are always telling me like, yeah, my last relationship, he did this to me, he did that. So now they have these trust issues, they have these walls. But why is that fair to me that now I have to wait? Now I got to go through interrogation. I have to go through this waiting period of
Right.
whatever. Like, that's not fair for
Yeah.
anybody to do that. But I get the trauma of it. Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, walls are not good.
Right,
Boundaries are good.
right,
Boundaries, I think they can help you to not accept certain behaviors, certain things. But when you have that wall up, it's because you're protecting yourself, obviously. And like you said, what if this next person is the one that really deserved whatever you did for the previous one? And how is that her fault?
right.
So I think maybe it'll help you be a little more cautious and kind of build on whatever you did the previous time and find different ways to kind of do the same thing. But you don't have to do the same thing for the next one. It could be something totally different.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think most people they have these walls up, and I know it's
Yeah.
not healthy. And I know it is it's a trigger. It's a safety thing for them,
Definitely.
but they can be missing out on opportunities too.
Yes.
Because, and I guess that's why most people say before you go into that next relationship, make sure you're healed first, so you
I
don't.
was just going to say that.
Yeah, so you don't have these walls.
Exactly.
Right? But then I feel like no matter how long you can be healed, but I feel like no matter how long you wait, you're still going to be cautious because someone just did you dirty, someone just did you wrong. Because
Yeah.
I think now I am, even though I'm aware of it, I am a little bit more cautious
Yeah.
of helping and supporting in certain things.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to be quick to do that now.
You live and you learn.
Yes, we live and we learn. But I mean, again, I still part of me still don't feels like it's not fair to the next person,
Yeah.
because that when you meet somebody new, right? You just met them. You don't know them. They could be the best person. They could be your person,
Yeah.
right? It's like how you meet. I know it's going off another subject, but when people break up, they hate each other. But in the beginning, you loved each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why all of a sudden you hate each other? Like, I get if things don't work out,
Yeah.
but why is it just so much hate? You
The
love,
pain.
yeah,
The pain, the anger, you did this, you did that.
Right.
Holding on to resentment, grudges, which is not going to help anybody.
So is that from staying in the relationship way too long? Like, there should have been a conversation way before it got to the anger and the hate.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, yeah, you did this, you did that. Like, now I hate you. There was a lot of stuff that went on. Like, someone just didn't do one thing, and like, now that's how you feel, right? Like, that was a buildup.
Exactly.
So it goes back to what we were saying. Where was the communication
Yep.
in the beginning? Like, if you sensed something was happening, or maybe that first time something happened,
Yep.
like, where was the conversation? Where were the boundaries right there?
Exactly.
Like, I feel like, and I think that's what it was. Like, people stay in relationships way too long.
Yeah.
And then they build up this hate and anger, and especially with marriages and when you have kids. Like, me and my first wife, I have 2 kids with her. We're good friends. Even though it didn't work out for us, but we was married for 25 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea you were married that long.
Yeah, 25 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, and we're going on almost 40 years of knowing each other right now. Wow. And we're good friends.
That's awesome.
We check on each other all the time.
That's
and we have our 2 kids together still. So
That's good. Some people can do that.
yeah,
Some people can't.
I mean, I think that's one of the
So-
things that when me and her first got a divorce, we kind of like set the tone, saying, you know what, we're not going to be like all these other couples. We're going to show our kids that it didn't work out, but we don't have to hate each other. We're still family,
That's awesome.
especially after 25 years. Like, we're still family.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we approached it.
That's a beautiful thing because not too many people can say that.
Right.
You know? So that just shows the maturity and the love that you had for your children.
And there was hurt and pain there, you know, in the beginning, but we grew past that. And again, communication. And I think that's what it was. Like, we communicate way better now than we was in our marriage.
That happens a lot. The irony, right?
Right. No, and we have still some of the mutual friends, and people be like, "Why don't y'all just get back together?"
Right?
They say that all the time. They want y'all to get back together, and it's like, for me, it's like, no. I mean, I'm being funny, right? It's no, but it's because I like what we have, and I don't want to put my kids or the family through something. What if it don't work out?
Right,
What if we were just meant to just be how we are right now, right? Like, why? I don't want to mess that up. That's one thing that I don't want to chance. I don't want to mess up. We're good friends. We're good. I don't want to mess chance that.
No, I get it. It's a delicate,
It is.
you know,
Because
land to tread on.
and I can see how. So we've been divorced for 15 years now. I can see how we've both grown. Like, we actually both like took off and grew.
Wow.
Like, where we are now, neither one of us was there 15 years ago.
That's awesome.
So right, and we talk about it a lot. Like, she actually has this leadership class that she just took that she paid for me to go through.
That's awesome.
Because we kind of do the same thing. You know, like, I do mindset, positive psychology. She does a bunch of leadership stuff. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's so cool.
we talk about it a lot. So yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, relationships are just they again, they shouldn't be so hard.
They truly should
They
not
shouldn't
be
be
so
hard.
hard.
You think most people force it?
It's just, you know, human beings, we're complicated.
Yeah, we are.
You know, we're like plants and we need a lot of water and sun, and it can be something so basic, but we make life really messy. It doesn't have to be messy. And that's where all the learning about yourself has to come in place, because the more you learn about yourself and becoming like the best version of you, that's going to help you see people in a different light.
Right.
And we're not all there. You know, like, some people are just barely starting to go through that path, that journey. But some of us, we've been doing it for a while, and we're like, okay, you know, I can love people better, see them better, see them in a different light. There's hope. But relationships, they're the best thing ever.
They
you
are.
know?
It's like what Lewis used to teach us in classes. We're all social creatures. But I know I get this a lot from a lot of the females I talk to. They were like, oh, I'm fine by being by myself. And I'm like, okay, so two things there. One, you're not, because you're not by yourself. You have kids or you have someone living with you, so you're not by yourself.
Yeah,
Two, you're on the world with 8 billion people.
exactly.
You're not meant to be by yourself.
We truly are not meant to
Like,
be by ourselves.
I think certain people, they take things to the extreme, right? Like, I get that you like being by yourself, like you like your own time, your space, or whatever. But we're not put on this earth to be by ourselves all the time.
Totally.
Like, one girl said, "Oh yeah, just put me on an island by myself. Like, you would never survive." Like, no,
Not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. Like, you just taking it to extreme. Like, no.
Exactly.
Again, you can have your space, free time, whatever, but
Right.
you're not.
Right.
You're just not meant to be here by yourself.
No, I agree. We're not.
But I get that's coming from a trauma mindset that she just been hurt too many times that she just don't want to deal with people.
Yeah, she'd rather be alone.
And I get that, because it is hard, like, especially people like us that give, and you don't get nothing in return, and you just get hurt.
Right.
I've been down that road.
Yeah.
And that's why I said this last one, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm constantly giving, and no one's putting that same effort back in.
Right.
So it's a constant hurt, relationship after relationship. And so it's like, do you even want to do it again?
Exactly.
But Yeah. So
Yeah. We each have to choose our place of peace, whether it's with people, whether it's without people. But it's a healthy thing to have relationships, and not just romantic relationships, like friendships and relationships with our brothers, our sisters, our mothers. Those relationships are vital to our well-being.
right.
So yeah, we need to learn how to have good relationships.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
What else is next for you, Miss Jessica?
You know what? I have a lot of things that I've been contemplating for a long time, and I'm thinking of stepping out more in faith and just making some of those things a reality.
Okay.
So I have a few ideas.
That's not a bad thing.
Like those little girl dreams that you just haven't got around to. Like, I'm going to get to them.
We all should do that, though.
Mm-hmm.
We all should do that because as kids, we dreamed a lot. Is that a word, dreamed? Dream. Oh, my God. I'm so off today. Dreamt, right? Thank you.
I used to say dram, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, but we did. We dreamed a lot, but when we got older, we was always taught, "Oh, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. You'll never grow up to be that." But why? Like why? Yeah. Like I don't like when adults tell kids that. Mm-hmm. I tell my students all the time, you could grow up to be whatever you want, but it's your choice, and it starts now.
Yeah.
But it's your choice. You have to want it.
Exactly.
And you have to do it now. Even in elementary, like it starts now. It starts with your behavior right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I tell them all the time, you can be whatever you want.
Yep.
I don't believe in telling a kid that they can't be whatever. Because even if it's never done before, okay, be the first. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of firsts.
Yep.
Be the first. Do it.
Yeah. The world is full of possibilities.
Exactly.
And, yeah. So you'll see me around. If you stay in the Antelope Valley, you'll still see me doing a lot of stuff out here.
I think I'm going to be here for a while. I've already got my roots into the show and the community, the schools that I'm in now.
Nice.
Like I can see myself. I actually love being in schools now.
Yes.
I love doing this mentorship thing.
That's awesome.
I can see if they'll have me. I can see myself being there for many, many years.
Yeah.
Because I can see the impact that we're having on the kids. Mm-hmm. And it is definitely needed.
You're pouring into the next generation.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, some of them don't have that consistent positive role model.
Yes.
So that's all I'm trying to be.
A father figure and a mentor, like in a man, is so, you have no idea how much you're needed, for so many children that don't have a good role model, that don't have a father. So what you're doing is amazing. So
Thank
my
you.
hat's off.
Thank you. See, you're doing the compliment thing again.
Sorry.
But I'm
serious.
I'm
serious.
I know, and I get it. I get it a lot, and I appreciate it. I just do it because I just believe in it. Like,
yeah.
Like I don't do it for the accolades and all the stuff. I do it because I was those kids, and I didn't have that.
Yes.
So I want to do that for them.
Yeah. I think there's a quote that says something about when you grow up, you want to be who you needed when you were younger.
Yes.
And I think that was me too. Like at the middle school, that's why I started pouring into the young girls, the young ladies there. I had that little group of, just these sweet girls that I just saw myself in them, just pouring into them and encouraging them and trying to give them some direction. And who knows, maybe I'll see one of them when they're older. And because I remember one of the teachers that did that for me in middle school, and I still remember her to this day. So it's, sometimes we don't think we're doing a big thing, but they know and they remember.
Quick story. So I told you we took the kids to Disneyland yesterday. And so it was this one kid that went, and me and him all year been bumping heads. He's part of the basketball, one of the kids that played basketball. Oh. And we got into it. I'm not going to say got into it, but we bumping heads pretty badly, like about a month ago. And me, him, and the principal had a conversation. Because I'm always having, conversation. Whenever, like, I pull a kid out of class or tell them what they did wrong, even in the heat of the moment when they're upset, I'll let them cool off. And I always try to either myself or me and the principal go have a conversation with them. And that's why I love the principal over there, because he's big on conversation. He'd be like, he's never too busy. If I say, hey, let's go, I need your help to go talk to the student, he'd be like, let's go. Like, we do it right now. I was like, right now? He's like, let's go.
Okay.
So anyway, we did this with this one student, and the student he just blurted out that I didn't care about him.
Oh.
And I was like, dude, why would you say that? He was like, because the way you back in, what you be telling me. I said, yeah, but I tell you these things to help you. He wasn't understanding what I was doing, right? He just thought I was getting on him, which in some parts I was, because he was making bad choices. Like, he was cussing me out and just doing all these things. Like, dude, one, I'm old school. I don't like kids cussing around me.
Right.
So I'm always say, hey, language, watch your language. I'm always telling you when you're doing something wrong.
Right.
So just all year, he always thought I just didn't like him. So fast forward to yesterday while I was at Disneyland, I had a group. It was me and his other teacher. We had a group of like 15 kids with us, and he was one of them. And he was standing in line while other kids was getting something to eat, and he was just kind of standing off to the side. And I was like, "You're not getting nothing?" And it was hot. I know he was thirsty. I know he was. Everybody else was. And he was like, "Nah." I was like, "How come?" He was like, "I need to save my money to get some souvenirs for my parents." So he only had enough money to get his parents something. I was like, so you don't have no money to eat? And mind, we gave them food to eat. But most kids, the 2-hour drive on there on the bus, they eat all the snacks we gave them.
Of course, yeah.
After we tell them not to do it, right? They do it anyway. So like, so you don't have no money to eat? He was like, no. I was like, what you want? He was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you want? I got you. He was like, you sure? I was like, yeah. So I got him a little ice cream cookie because it was hot. And then a couple hours later, while they was actually eating their lunch and he didn't have his, again, stand off the side. I was like, dude, you're not getting nothing? He was like, no. I was like, man, what do you want? He was like, are you sure? I was like, man, I got you. I told you, dude. He was like, yeah, but you be getting on my nerves sometimes. I said, man, you know I care about you. I actually do. I'm not going to sit here and let you starve and not eat while everybody else is eating.
Right.
I said, I got you, man. You got to understand what I'm doing with you here. He was like, are you serious, coach? I was like, yeah. What do you want? So I bought him his lunch. And afterwards, he came up to me. He was like, thanks, coach. But it's like, I just do these things.
Those little things.
It's the little things, right? Like, I'm trying to teach him, like, yeah, man, I'm always going to get on you. And I told him, like, later on that day, like, and he's not a bad kid, because he's really not. And he's not our worst trouble kid that always gives us problems every day. He gives us problems, like, every now and then, right? But I said, man, the only reason why I get on you, man, because I see your potential. I know you're a good kid. But I am going to correct you, because I can see that you're going to be something one day.
Yeah,
And I need you to start those good habits now and not develop all these bad habits.
exactly.
And I said, today, you actually did an amazing job. I was proud of you. You behaved the whole time at Magic Mountain for 12 hours. You were just a straight-A student. And he thanked me for that. And I was like, good.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. Just the little things.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I try to. I try to.
Yeah, keep doing that.
But you definitely need to go out on faith and do what you want to do. Like, do what you really
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yes, you'll see my projects somewhere soon.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing what God put me here to do. And,
Exactly.
He gave us all a gift.
Exactly.
And I 1,000% believe I'm using my gifts now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I'm walking this year particularly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really walking into that.
Yeah.
And it's actually having a lot to do with because of my own personal healing journey that I've been on for a few years. I'm actually now stepping in faith with like helping people heal and just praying over them and speaking over them and giving them words of encouragement. And it's through a friend that I met through my sister. And this lady, her name is Pia. She's out in Santa Clarita. So I've been meeting with her and a group of other women. And they've really mentored me and just took me under their wings. And, yeah, I feel like even with that alone, I feel like I'm just stepping out in faith because I never saw myself in that role, but for one reason, I'm
I can see
stepping
it.
into that.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna be amazing.
Yeah. It's a calling. It's definitely a calling.
And you know, when you finally, like I said, God gave everybody a gift.
Mm-hmm.
When you finally find that gift, like it doesn't feel like work. You know how they tell you when you love doing what you do, it doesn't feel like work? That's how you know you're doing your gift.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning and I go to these schools and it really don't feel like work. I'm excited to wake up every morning and go. Like I do, even though the days are long and draining sometimes because of the behaviors, but I know at the end of the day, I made an impact.
Yeah.
You know, but it really doesn't feel like work.
Passion with purpose.
Yeah, I love it.
Definitely.
I don't see myself doing anything else.
That's awesome.
I actually got 2 other job offers that I turned down.
Really? Wow.
I said, I'm not leaving this.
Wow. That's so cool. Beautiful.
Anyways, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me on your show.
It's great seeing you. Great
Awesome.
catching up. Yes.
Yes.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right.
Wish you the best.
All right, y'all. We out of here.